Hi, I'm Ross Thibault, principal of Dartmouth High School, and it's my pleasure to bring to you the Early Show with yours truly, Ross Thibault. This is a collaborative venture between myself and the students of the DHSTVmedia production program, as well as Mr. Parati, the director of the DHSTVmedia program. It's an opportunity for us to share with the community some of the different happenings here at Dartmouth High School, as well as to have various guests on throughout the year here to give you kind of a glimpse into our world and to keep you informed of the important work and great work that goes on at Dartmouth High School on a daily basis. Before we get started today, I just want to give a plug and a shout out and a thank you to Bob's Discount Furniture. They are the company that provided us with the donations to make the talk show set possible. So we're very, very appreciative of having community partners like Bob's Discount Furniture. We wouldn't be able to do it without partners like them. Also, I'd like to thank the PTO because many of the different pieces of equipment that our DHSTVmedia production program uses is made possible through their funding, as well as Mr. Parati does a fantastic job of soliciting donations from Donors Choose, which has really enhanced our ability to provide quality programming to the community as well. So absolutely very grateful to those groups and those community partners. Today's pilot show, which I hope you'll enjoy, is going to feature guest Ms. Xavier, our associate principal, as well as Christina Corser, who is our consultant in the Highlander from the Highlander Institute. And today's focus is going to be around blended, personalized, and project-based learning. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you learn something a little bit about the instructional work that goes on here at Dartmouth High School. Welcome back. I'm joined by our Associate Principal, Ms. Xavier, and our consultant, Ms. Corser from the Highlander Institute. And we're going to talk a little bit about the blended and personalized learning work that's been going on here at Dartmouth High School. And so I'll start with you, Christina. If you could just share a little bit with the community about the work, what Highlander Institute is, and what work you've been doing here with us in the Dartmouth Public School System.
Thank you for having me on your prestigious show.
The Early Show with Ross Thibault, in case you're confused.
Yes. So the Highlander Institute, I was originally hired several years ago to help people use the technology that they began using in their classroom. So I'm a new teacher. I have a set of Chromebooks. What do I do with them? And my job was to come in and kind of teach teachers how to use the tools at hand to make learning better for the students in front of them. And what my job has morphed into in the last couple of years is more, less about the technology and more about the students. So what are students looking for in the classroom? What experience do students want? What's missing from their high school, middle school, and elementary school experiences? And being a bridge between the students and the teachers and administration and community sometimes.
Thanks. Ms. Xavier, can you talk a little bit about the role you've played in facilitating the work here at Dartmouth High School with the Highlander Institute and with our faculty who serve on the blended and personalized learning team?
Well, it's been very exciting working with Christina and the administrative team as we work with teachers in planning their lessons. We have teams of teachers that are by department, and the teachers will spend 2 periods just planning a lesson. One teacher delivers it, the rest of them just plan it together, so they all own the lesson. And they have all kinds of feedback that they can offer one another. And in all of my years of teaching, I've never seen such an experience where teachers can come together and plan a lesson and bring all their different areas of expertise and strategies. Then the teachers will deliver the lesson, the one teacher will deliver the lesson, and we offer feedback, we observe, we debrief, we talk about the glows and the grows areas where they just were phenomenal and the kids were engaged and they were differentiating the instruction. And then we have a conversation about areas where they need to improve it. So it's discussions about instruction, planning together, giving one another the feedback, and taking a risk. You're more apt to take a risk as a teacher if you know you're planning with your colleagues and you're supported by administration and you have the support of Christina in the debriefing period. So it's been a great experience for all of us.
So a couple of things I heard you say. So first off, the process you're talking about is the lesson study protocol, right? So we start a lesson, and we don't start with the technology,
Nope.
and we don't start with what model we want to use in terms of blended or personalized learning. We start with what are the learning outcomes, right? What are the objectives that we hope to achieve during that lesson, and from there, then we go and make some decisions around what framework might work best, what strategies are going to work best, and we kind of design backwards from there. Can you speak, Ms. Xavier, to just in terms of this work with the Highlander at Dartmouth High School, what departments have been represented? We're in year 2 now of our initiative. And if you could just speak to a little bit about which departments have been represented over the last couple of years and the progress that we've seen here.
Well, the English department has been part of it both years, and they've really done a lot of work. And they've been very dedicated to the process. All the teachers in the department, almost all of them, have been involved. Foreign language department has done a lot of work both years. The math department, as well as the history department.
And this year, we also, did you mention science?
Science
department.
Science this year we had represented, but not last year.
And special education has been involved in both years as well. Right. So, Christina, you have the opportunity, you have a unique perspective because you get to visit many schools, not only in Massachusetts, but also in neighboring Rhode Island. So I'm really interested in your perspective in terms of the progress and growth you've seen here at Dartmouth High School over the last 2 years.
I am not shy about saying how great the team at, not just in Dartmouth, but specifically at the high school is. In no other high school that I've worked at do people really come together to create a product that is student-facing, that we actively talk about and actively grow from. And the fact that you and Rachel are always at the table makes a huge difference in validating the teacher efforts and making sure that the students are getting what they need. It's one thing for me to stop by once a week or every other week. It's another thing to have you guys supporting the teachers on the day-to-day and following up with what they need. I think the best conversations we've had so far this year are about just demystifying the stuff that happens behind the scenes. So being here and talking for students, hey guys, with the hope that you know what your teachers are doing to make things better for you. It's one thing to plan for students behind the scenes. It's another to plan with kids and be getting student feedback. So really demystifying the secret planning and making sure that the lessons are transparent, that the learning objectives are obvious, and that it's all about what kids get from the day, the week, the month.
Sure. One of the things that I heard you say that I really like is around the opportunity to bring student voice into teacher reflection on the lesson. That's a major component of the work that we've been doing over the last couple of years, is to really speak to the students and give them an opportunity for them to self-reflect on their own learning and then to share that with their teachers, I think is huge. But the other piece around demystification that I think needs to happen is around terms like blended and personalized learning, or also project-based learning. And so one of the things that I think is important that we understand is this analogy for project-based learning around the project as dessert versus as the main course. And that's a shift that we're really trying to make here at Dartmouth High School, is to understand that the true project-based learning, or gold standard project-based learning, as the Buck Institute talks about, is not a project that happens after all the learning has taken place. It's the process by which the learning takes place, right? It is the main course. And so that's something that our teachers have been working on. We've started to see some great lessons and some great projects. One that sticks out in my mind is, I work closely with the social studies blended and personalized learning team, and it's Mr. Lemla and Mr. Bedard. And so two projects that really exemplify that is recently Mr. Berdad completed a project around designing a World War II game with his students, and he did minimal direct instruction around World War II. He really turned it over to the kids. The kids were responsible for conducting the research, learning about the key events and the core content around World War II, and then using that information and that knowledge to design a game that accurately reflects the history around World War II. And prior to that, in Mr. Lemler's classroom, he did a lesson around the rise of mills and the rise of factories in the United States, and provided a high level of student choice. Student choice is another major thing we talk a lot about. But kids could pick what role they wanted to play, what format they wanted to deliver the information or to create the product in. And so we had some students who did podcasts around it. We had other students who did investigative reports. We had some students who created journal entries as from the perspective of a Lowell Mill girl. And so it was really fascinating not only to see students all choose a different format, but also to see them integrate technology and research and really create an outstanding product at the end.
And especially, I think the best part about project-based learning is when you can then use the product. So it doesn't just live on a shelf. Someone can listen to the podcast. The students are going to play the game, the World War II games that they created. Some are better than others, but they'll be able to evaluate those. And the project becomes, like you said, not the dessert, but the thing, and it makes learning feel real, I think. And I remember very vividly, and still now as an adult learner, there are some things that I do as a learner that feel real, and there are some things that I do that feel fluffy. And projects tend to add a heft to the stuff because you're working to solve a major problem, or you're working to produce and make something. So you get to apply all of the knowledge that's just kind of floating or in your notes, and you get to prove that you know it in a way outside of the regular paper pencil diorama.
Ms. Xavier, I was wondering if you could speak to keeping along the themes of project-based learning. I know the English team had an exceptional project-based learning experience that really incorporated Ms. Thomas, our new technology integration specialist, and the innovation lab, and kind of pulled character analysis and all of that together in Ms. Brittingham's class. Mm-hmm. So I was wondering if you could speak a little bit to that project.
Oh, that particular project, there was a new novel that the English department had taken on. I believe it's Dear Martin. Mm-hmm. And the students went through the whole process of looking at character development in the book, understanding the character, pulling the evidence, and then creating a sleeve of tattoos that particular character would put on his or her arm, and why. And they had to design the tattoo art. They wrote a character analysis. They did a podcast. It was an incredible experience. And actually, we did tweet out some of the student artwork, and the author responded and was very moved by some of the images that the students represented in their tattoo artwork.
So for me, when we think about 21st century skills, communication, collaboration, creative,
I covered
critical
all of
thinking,
that. Yep.
A project like that really touches on all of those things. And so Mrs. Thomas, as well as Ms. Brittingham, are to be commended, because it was a very well thought out, well designed project, with a high level of rigor. A lot of times in education, we fall back on buzzwords, things like hands-on, and I'm always worried about hands-on, minds off, and that's not what this project was. It was hands-on, minds on. They had to support the images that they picked with text-based evidence, right?
In addition, they did research. So they went and they looked at real-world experiences that supported their analysis. So the research was so authentic, and it was so integrated and embedded in their work, so that the tattoo art was just a very small component of all the research that they did, and they were excited about it. The students had read the book, they were having conversations, and you want to see that happen.
Yeah, some kids were connecting to current events,
Yep.
some were connecting to past events,
And as a former English teacher, it was so exciting to see the students excited about what they were doing, the research and the reading.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the other thing I think too, in terms of technology, right? Sometimes we do technology just, unfortunately, sometimes we put it and it doesn't support the learning, doesn't enhance the learning. That was not the case with this particular project, right? Students had the option to either hand draw or draw in Google Draw. So they learned about Google Draw. Some still went low tech and hand drew, which is fine, but they're now more aware of Google Draw and what they can and can't, that program's limitations. But then they also, it's my understanding that the top tattoo sleeves were actually printed in our innovation lab on tattoo paper that was ordered. And so again, you get that integration. We have this state-of-the-art innovation lab where we want students creating and producing projects that are meaningful to them and that they take pride in. And I really think that Ms. Brittingham knocked it out of the park with this
They
project.
truly did, and it was a collaborative experience between Ms. Thomas and Ms. Brittingham. They spent a lot of time planning that particular lesson, but they were so excited. They couldn't wait to see the presentations. And the students actually voted on the best artwork and analysis at the end. And I forget what technology they used to vote, but it was just
Clickers.
Clickers, yeah. Was it the
Is it
clickers?
Clickers? Is that what?
Clickers?
Plickers.
Yeah, Plickers.
Plickers.
Plickers,
That's why we
yeah.
have Christina, our tech guru.
Sometimes.
Yeah, Ms.
Yes.
Thomas has been very important to our work here this year as our technology integration specialist.
So we're running towards the end, but there are two more key points that I wanna get to. The first one would be around what would you say to a teacher who maybe hasn't tried blended and personalized learning, isn't quite sure what it is, like who's hesitant maybe to try it? What would we say? Because Ms. Brittingham's class, it was a class of all freshmen. So I know that sometimes one of the concerns is, I guess the point here is, yes, we're mindful of the fact you have to have strong classroom rituals and routines in place and a strong culture built, but any of our students can handle blended and personalized learning, right? I think. So what advice would you offer to a teacher? I know you taught for many, many years. Some would even say decades. Not to date you, Ms. Xavier. You're on camera. Everyone take note that she's on camera and being nice to you.
I knew this was going to happen at some
Right,
point.
yes.
I knew.
So, in all seriousness, what advice would you offer as a veteran educator yourself for a teacher who's maybe a little bit hesitant to jump in?
Baby steps. I had a conversation with a teacher, and she's afraid, but she's excited and she wants to learn about it. And I said, just meet with someone in your department that's done the work, observe the class, have conversations about technology that you can slowly embed into your lessons. But most of all, what is it that you want the students to learn? Start with that and choose one piece of technology or one piece of advice someone on the design team in your department can give you. Observing teachers, taking one small piece of technology, looking at what your objectives are, maybe choose one unit in a quarter. Don't feel as though you have to do it for every single lesson that you teach. And it's okay if you teach traditionally. There's nothing wrong with that. But there might be pieces of technology that you can use once in a while, in particular units, as you move forward. So just once a quarter, work with colleagues, and couple up with our technology specialists in the building who will support you. Because I think teachers are afraid of the technology and they're afraid to make mistakes. What they don't realize is that our students are experts, many of them, and the students will be happy to help the teachers.
I think that highlights an important point, right? That we can learn from and with students.
Oh, and they love it.
Right.
They love it, and they get excited. Students, anytime a teacher is struggling with technology and you ask a student, It's amazing what they know, and they get so excited. And I told that particular teacher, I said, listen, your students are the experts. And she shared back, she said, oh my gosh, the kids were so excited. They were showing me how to use the Google Docs, because she was nervous. So really, our students are a great resource, and we can learn together.
Christina, same question for you. If you were going to give one piece of advice for a hesitant teacher, what would it be?
I would, Rachel, you took mine.
I know, she just talks and
no.
talks and talks. If anyone saw the pre-production meeting,
really?
Pre-production meeting, she was afraid of her airtime. So I think we've covered.
That is not true.
Yeah.
Oh, my word.
I struggle because I also have too much to say in terms of advice. I love giving advice a little too much. But I'd say, like, be forgiving of yourself. Like, be ready to make a mistake and be transparent with your students. Trying something new. Also, ask your kids what they want. If you're not sure where to start, ask students, what's missing from this class. Like, what do you want more of? What do you want less of? When I go in to visit classrooms, I like to ask those questions of kids, and often their responses will overlap with what teachers already want to do or change or shift in their classroom. And the other thing I would really drive home is that this is not supposed to be a one-off change. It isn't, I did the technology check or I did the personalized check. It should hopefully be something that you want to shift in your classroom. So if something isn't working, push that button.
Yeah, that's a great place to end because it's kind of where we began our school year. At our opening faculty meeting, we really talked about one of our major areas of focus is not blended and personalized and project-based learning as an event, but as a core instructional strategy, something that is good for all students, a practice that is good to use routinely, not something to say, oh yeah, on that day we did blended and personalized learning, which was the feedback we got from students last year when we surveyed them, was that it was more of an event thing, meaning that we did it one day and then we didn't see it again for a few weeks. And that's to be expected, right? I think that that's common as you're shifting your practice.
Yes.
That's to be expected. But I know as principal that I'm extremely impressed and proud with the risk-taking that I see from our teachers on a daily basis here at Dartmouth High School. And I really do think we're making that shift where it's not an event in many classrooms. It's more of a core instructional strategy. This is how we do business because we know kids learn this way and learn well this way. Thank you both for being on our pilot show. Who knows how the ratings will be? If we're canceled, Ms. Xavier, you can be in the host chair next time.
Very good. I'm
And,
excited.
but I did a lot less talking than you, so I'm not sure if that's the
I don't
role
know if
for
that's
you.
quite the case. I think we did a lot more talking. But,
We'll run the tape.
yeah, okay. Go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome. Hi, I'm here with Andrea Abreu, who is one of our advisors of the After Prom Committee. After Prom is an exciting, fun-filled event for our seniors immediately following the prom and ensures that they have a fun and safe evening with us at Dartmouth High School. Andrea is here to present several awards to some of our seniors who did an outstanding job with our recent calendar fundraiser.
So our goal was for each senior to sell 4 calendars. These seniors, along with 2 others, sold a total of 165 calendars, raising $1,650. So first prize, can you help me hold? Sure. Fifth prize goes to Riley Haynes. She sold 25 calendars, and she is receiving a yearbook for the year 2020. Third place goes to Autumn Luth, selling 36 calendars, and you won a prom photo package from Mare Studios. Congratulations. Third place is Ashley White. She sold 26 calendars, and she is receiving 2 prom tickets. Second place goes to Maddie Piva. Now, second and first place, you guys were really close by 2 calendars. Second place goes to Maddie Piva, selling 38 calendars. You are receiving a $100 gift card to Margaret's Boutique. and a $30 gift card to Salon and Vogue Organic Hair Salon. So congratulations. And first prize, Andrew Matoza. He sold 40 calendars. You are receiving a $155 gift card towards a tux rental from Slade's Formal. Congratulations.
Again, we'd like to thank all of the community members who purchased calendars from our seniors. Again, you helped make the after prom possible, so thank you. And again, thank you to our seniors and congratulations. That's a wrap. Thank you for tuning in to the first edition of the Early Show with Ross Thibault. Really appreciate you staying with us. And tune in next time where we'll have our Director of Technology, Mr. Jonathan Galashaw, also known as the voice of snow day calls here at Dartmouth Public Schools, and some students for some student question and answer around the new schedule.